So, hello everybody. My topic is Design Thinking and Innovation in SMEs, a systematic literature review in terms of barriers and practices. My name is Fatma and I'm a PhD student at the University of Aveiro in doctorate in business innovation. I'm glad to be here and present you my first step for my PhD in design thinking. My supervisors are Irina and Danielle. Irina is a higher education since 2006 in the areas of management, strategy, innovation, marketing, and methodologies in undergraduate, master's, doctoral, and executive education. Danielle is a professor at the Department of Economics, Management, Industrial Engineering of the University of Aveiro and regent of the curricular units of project management and entrepreneurship and technologies and information systems and management. So I will start with a citation of Steve Jobs. Design is not just what it looks like and feels like. Design is how it works. In the last days, we learned about the diversity of design. So I think this quote from Steve Jobs is fitting here. For that reason, we have a lot of types of design. You can find design in products, in services, in processes, and also in organizations. Design thinking is a process, so each step can be repeated until the process for innovation strategy is complete. As Barbara said in the last days, it is complete when you say it is finished. So that is how a typical design thinking process looks like. Of course, each process can be changed a little bit, but it is important to repeat the process until you are finished. First, expand the scope of thinking, gain empathy by going out there, identify insights and uncover opportunity areas, generate ideas based on your insights, make ideas tangible and learn through building, test as though you are wrong. So, my first research question is, which external sources of knowledge contribute to the definition of design thinking, innovation, strategy, and how can they be systematized? Which obstacles and barriers lead to the failure of implementing systematized innovation management systems in companies? And how has the scientific output of the design thinking innovation strategy evolved in relation to SMEs? To gain an impression, we will go deeper in creative development approach design thinking in SMEs. For a successful implementation of design thinking in SMEs, further success factors, especially tailored to SMEs, are required here. Time, resources, and budget are essential for a successful innovation implementation, but there are the prerequisites of SMEs and large companies differ. For example, in large enterprises, there are often specific research and development departments, as we heard in the presentation before. Also, there are a lot of creative spaces, as well as innovation managers or design thinkers, and thus places and people whose tasks include evaluating new approaches such as design thinking. In SMEs, employees usually do this at most beside their daily activities at work, and there are fewer innovative strategies such as design thinking without knowing, very cautious about implementing innovative strategies such as design thinking without knowing the exact benefits beforehand. Large companies, on the other hand, are more likely to give the search for optimization and innovation the necessary space. This is an interesting statistic about how important is it to encourage SMEs for innovation and innovation approaches. Here you can easily see that around 98% of SMEs are SMEs in Europe, and they are owning the market. More than a half of all employees are working in SMEs, and more than a half of the gross value added are also SMEs. For my PhD research, the first step is to investigate the state of the art and choose a qualitative method such as a systematic literature review to identify the best practices and barriers of design thinking and innovation in SMEs. 306 papers between 1998 and 2021 were obtained after searching it in Web of Science, current contents, and they were analyzed using EndNote and also NVivo from the systematic and content perspective. Here you can see the preliminary search term for the systematic literature review. First step, I try to look into a search term enough with a star, and I had a lot of results, 169,307. That was too many hits, not very specific, usually with wrong context. So I tried to make a restriction in my search term, and then I was looking for design thinking and enough with a star. So enough includes also all words with innovation, innovate, innovative. And then I had a whole research paper of an amount of 308. I import all these papers into EndNote to read the abstract and then to make a specification related to papers in SMEs. Then I had at least 70 papers for analyzing it. Here you can see the most frequently occurring journals. This chart shows you that over the time the interest in research of design thinking, especially in SMEs, has increased. The year 2021 shows a small decrease, but the full year has not yet been included in this analysis. I assume the year 2021 will show a further increase. So, the journals with more publications are Design Journal, by far a regular in the publication associated to design thinking and innovation, followed by International Journal of Engineering Education, Creativity and Innovation Management, Journal of Cleaner Production, and also Sustainability. We were focused on specific needs and barriers for design thinking in SMEs. We have created a longer list in NVivo, but I would just like to give you a few examples of that. Mandatory is necessary needs for design thinking. Our management support, for example, for the design thinking team. In SMEs, the chances are smaller that design thinking can be introduced in a single department without the knowledge and approval of the entrepreneur. It is imperative and to have the commitment and support of the entrepreneur for the project to be successful. Also, time, resources, and budget. In SMEs, employee involvement in the innovative process is usually developed on the site at most. There are a fewer specialized departments. SMEs have to think twice whether they start a design thinking project without being able to calculate the exact benefits in advance. Here, for example, failure factors based on nature of SMEs. Lack of customer input in customer analysis, no comprehensive or incorrect survey of actual customer needs and expectations, and also qualitative survey methods with the customer are designed to create negative customer experiences. So understanding the customer goals and the current customer experience as perceived by the customer form the central basis for the subsequent active design of the customer experience. Companies must develop a deep understanding of customers' goals, needs, perceptions, and interactions. The instrument of the direct collection of customers' input is overused and misused. Data collection must be prevented from provoking negative reactions from the customer and creating survey fatigue undermines the willingness to provide critical feedbacks. So the analysis shows that the science has dealt with the implementation of thinking approaches in SMEs, but not enough. Therefore, this topic is consequently not very well known even in small and medium-sized enterprises because SMEs are not frequent users of design thinking. The academia is also very little interested in analyzing the subject. Only a few SMEs are preoccupied with everyday business, which is why they are so slow to integrate new approaches. For this reason, SMEs do not provide themselves with the capacity to develop new things and thus run the risk of losing some of their competitive advantages in the medium to long term. It seems that design thinking is not suitable for traditional SMEs because we are not talking about startups. For my further research field, we want to look in vivo to the geographical analysis of the research papers. Are the research papers conceptual one or empirical one? Do they have hypotheses or research questions? And which methodologies they used for the research papers? Thank you.